What's up, Joe?
Just living the dream, baby. How about you?
Dude, I need a fucking intern.
Yeah, well,
somebody who will work for free or nothing or future revenue or fucking something, because I'm spending way too much of my life editing, clipping, administering, uploading, fucking show noting.
oh, you mean for the other show? You mean for Mission DeFi?
No, I mean for this one too.
What have you been clipping here?
What do you mean? I'm fucking how do you think the show notes get done every day?
No. So you're actually doing the web clip, the video clips now too.
Yeah, and
I didn't realize that. I thought you were just
every show I got to download. I got to write the show notes. I got to clip all the URLs. I got to format them. I've got to add the links. I got to fucking upload.
Oh, but you're not pulling like clips out of the show yet. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, occasionally I do, but okay. I don't have time.
Because I was looking at that yesterday and I was thinking, oh shit. When you said that, I was like, I didn't realize you're already doing that. Because
I have done it. I have done it several times in the past. I haven't recently. But you know, it's the whole catch-22. Got to have revenue to pay somebody. Can't get revenue if you can't promote it and do it properly. But it is what it is. I'm through fucking whining. But
yeah,
I'm just
we're through listening.
Yeah, James. Yeah, these are all on the list. James. James says, "What a day!" Celsius doxes all of their users. Binance chain hacked, and halted. Yeah, we'll get to all that shortly, sir.
Is Binance is back up though, right?
Binance is back up.
Yeah, I thought I saw a tweet from CZ saying that. Yeah, let's make lots of stuff to talk about, of course, on a Friday.
Mr. Muccioli, when will BTC dump? Looks like someone is eating BTC for lunch every day. Why do you keep taking that off?
No, I'm trying to put it up, dude.
It was
you
already
want to throttle back a little bit, unless you want like another Thrilla in Manila, pal. Because you're annoying me already.
I don't give a fuck.
No, I see Mr. Muccioli a lot in my Twitter feed, or occasionally in there.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize you were watching the show, buddy. Thanks, man. Glad to hear it.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. And I have no idea when it's actually going to dump. If I knew that, I wouldn't be doing this show.
You'd be sitting on the super yacht mixing up margaritas.
Oh, fucking A. I'm just chaos. Nah, sorry. I hate to start off the show whining, but my morning has been insanity and I had to get an episode out. Speaking of which, let's get to it. I had to get this out. Okie dokie. Let me get it opened. There we go. This is actually this is pretty fantastic. So I've interviewed Rob Montgomery from Revest previously. But Revest, last time I interviewed him, it was like a week before all the liquidations, cascading shit that occurred. And, you know, they were hunky dory. All in life was good. And then, shortly, a couple of months later, they got hacked. And, it was pretty brutal. And it turned out that their, audit firm that they had hired to audit sucked because they missed a reentrancy exploit, and they had to recover. But unlike other protocols that have had this happen to them, they end up shutting down or fucking kind of become a shell and just wallow around, they took their existing protocol, Revest, and built amazing functionality into it. And then based on that functionality, where they're calling Revest really an engine now, I'll talk about what it is in a minute. But based on that functionality, they built this product, Resonate. I think we talked about it last week. They built this product, Resonate, that essentially allows protocols to buy their emissions back from investors who are staking but want to get out immediately or shorter term than wait 6 months or a year for the APRs at a discount. And this all happens inside of NFTs. So Revest's first product was this engine that allowed you to lock up tokens in NFTs, and you could vest them on a schedule. Investors could sell their NFTs with their tokens locked up on a vesting schedule to somebody else without impacting price. So it was a great way to kind of contain functionality around tokens on a date, on a price of their token, whatever. There were all kinds of parameters and variables, and had a nice interface so that anybody could set it up without writing code. And then they started really exploring the capabilities of what their platform would let people do. They now have, and there's video of it in the show, they now have the ability to embed a smart wallet and dApps into NFTs. So that people can execute and carry out DeFi functionality within an NFT. So really powerful. I encourage everybody to check it out. Check out Revest and their product Resonate. This was a fun episode. This guy's a lot of fun, and we talked through what it was like going through the hack, what it was like trying to recover, and a lot of other shit. So take a look at it.
Did you already tweet it out?
I did, yes, sir.
Okay. I was just going to.
So BNB Chain, here we go. Another bridge hack. Shocking, just shocking. $500 million dollars. Because BNB Chain is essentially centralized, they were able to lock it down. So they got their 26, they have 44 validators, but they got their 26 to basically shut down the chain. So they shut down the chain. They are potentially going to lock up the tokens. The 80% of the tokens that the person printed were still on the chain. 20% they got out and swapped for other tokens on other chains. But 80% are still there and locked up. So they're going to have a vote whether to freeze those and not allow the hacker to take them anywhere. Right now they're frozen. They're starting a white hat program for a bug bounty program. They may use auto burn on the remaining hacker funds that are seized up. So, on one hand, you can see this as a great example of how centralized they are and how much they aren't decentralized. But as another example, you could potentially see a few benefits of centralization, because rather than a hacker getting away with $500 million, the hacker got away with 100 million. So it's an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Wow. All those pure decentralization guys. Who do I know who's like that?
Me.
You might be moving towards the light.
I absolutely oppose being a centralized chain, but I'm just, trying to be unbiased and pointing out what's possible in those scenarios. Right now, fucking Binance, it doesn't matter. $500 million is like, that's in.
Well, they'll just fluff up everybody lost. That's what they usually do, right?
There's $500 million in the change pocket of CZ's backpack. That's fucking nothing. That's like pittance. But there you go. Sean said footology. Eamon said
I'll never forget that now.
Being able to forge Merkle proofs is kind of terrifying, which is how that exploit happened. Solved a fake proof for a specific block. That's just wild. Wow. All right. The pub came for the Joe. Brad Crossfire fireworks.
That's Friday, baby. Let's go. No, what we knew, but I mean, look, we know there's some benefits to centralization, of course, in a situation like this, and quite a few others as well. But I think that it's it'd be nice to figure out a way to bring in that type of of course, security into the whole trilemma of decentralization. But we know it can't happen ideally. So a little balance here is good, but don't want it other places, right?
Yeah. Look. I mean, in the case of Binance, there's enough money there to basically have insurance fund for users, right? But at the same time, a lot of their users are retail. Most of their users are retail. And so they have far more transactions than everybody else, or almost more transactions than everybody else. And they have a built-in mechanism to protect users because they have a centrally controlled chain. That's how they wanted to build this thing. Now, they claim that they're going to continue to push for decentralization. CZ has always said that he wants to make the entirety of Binance, the centralized exchange and the decentralized chain, to be completely decentralized. Like, he doesn't want to run the company anymore. But the likelihood of that happening anytime soon for the centralized exchange infrastructure is nil, because that's a massive fucking operation. But he does give people autonomy, right? There are thousands of people out there running that exchange and running their divisions without any influence by him. He claims to be hands off on BNB Chain. I don't know how true that is, but there's an entire team surrounding that. All of that said, it's way too fucking centralized. It's ridiculous. I'm all for a progression into decentralization and starting off with some centralization, but they haven't moved beyond where they have always been, which is centralized. So anyway, there are positive effects, but there you go. So
that's what it is.
Sushi had a 10% rally yesterday because venture fund named Golden Tree disclosed that it had a $5 million position in the protocol, which got all the sushi boys and girls excited that somebody was making a long-term bet on it. They also disclosed their wallet address so that members of the community could monitor the wallet. And this was after the hiring of the new chef. So that's a boost of a vote of confidence for him and for the community vote, and all of that has occurred. So glad to see it. I've always been kind of, had a fondness in my heart for Sushi, and I'd love to see that thing excel. It already has an amazing infrastructure. It covers almost every major chain. It has a lot of capable tools. It has tools that people can build upon, but I think people have just been nervous about doing much with Sushi because it's been such a fucking mess for 6 months, So anyway, glad to see it.
Anybody ever heard of Golden Tree?
I have not.
But they got 50 billion in assets under management.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
No, I'm the same with Sushi. I mean, look, carbon neutral trading, partnerships with Klima, partnerships with Polygon, a new guy who's trying to figure out how to get him regulatorily compliant through, new structures. I think that they're one that can come out of this whole regulation tsunami in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, did you see what Dark Brandon did yesterday?
No, what?
Pardoned thousands of people in
I love that, dude. Look, I mean, this is the stupidest law we've ever had.
That's the stupidest shit.
I mean, let them all go. I mean, if people are in jail for weed,
next decriminalize. Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
It's fucking ludicrous.
I mean, honestly, they're not drinking, these Gen Z or kids.
I hope not. That's why I keep telling my kids. Smoke dope, don't drink, please.
Yeah, and and all the other stuff too. You keep them off of that. But tobacco, alcohol, weed. Come on, 2 of those are really bad, and it's not weed. So I mean, if you can just get lucky with your kids smoking weed, then you hit a home run in this society at this point. So
dude, that's all I tell my kids. Just please
get through it. Stay alive.
Pick the right drug, please.
Uber and weed, basically.
Yeah. So
no driving, no drinking, no smoking.
So this weekend, I'm going to watch the new Portrait of Brian Armstrong documentary.
Really?
Well, I'm going to watch it so nobody else has to.
Dude, we should hire an intern to do a reality show on us doing a reality.
That would be great.
Yeah. Live stream us talking about a live stream. Multiple camera crews following us.
I like that. I fucking love that, dude. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, what we should do is
out of a bar again. Oh, there's Brad at a cheerleading competition. Oh, there's whatever. It's like, or look, it was just like, oh, sunshine, crypto, beautiful.
I wonder how long our audience is going to stay around waiting until we have another fight.
I can't fight with you, dude. Man, we're friends. I don't fight with friends.
We have 2 high school kids that could be interns.
I got one that's ready. My official Gen Z consultant already.
Hell yeah, we'll give them tokens. Don't worry, kids. These are going to be worth a fortune.
Here, just take a couple. Here, just take a taste, Jared. First one's free. Come on, come on.
Anyway, I'm going to subject myself to this fucking
God, you're a bigger man than I
ego
ever did.
masturbation fucking Brian Armstrong thing just because I gotta see it. Look,
You know what he should do? He should do a show of himself looking in the mirror, giving himself a facial, and then he could just talk to us directly while he's self-absorbed on his own face. You know.
Look, I've listened to a few interviews with him, and what he built is impressive. How he built it is impressive. What he went through to get it off the ground, absolutely impressive. The man is brilliant, hardworking, driven, a picture of startup to public company success. You know, that I can't take any that away from him. He just annoys the fuck out of me. So just in general, but you know, look, that's.
No, I think Sean pointed it out when you guys were talking about that strike guy. What's his name, Mallers or whatever? That you know, these guys are just playing the Silicon Valley ethos culture. You know, it's like the Theranos thing or the Uber thing. I can't remember all their names at this point, but there's this sort of need to be so self-absorbed and so driven, and so it doesn't really. It's not really the way people are.
Exactly.
And, you know, when your stuff doesn't work and you've been that way, everybody's going to want payback. Yeah. Everybody's going to be taking shots at you on the way down. But if you don't act like that and then you F up, you know, usually everybody's trying to help you out.
Exactly.
You know? So
exactly.
I'm sort of torn on this type of behavior, this attitude. I mean, I get it, you know, football linebacker type mentality, you know, go in and kick some ass and, you know, fake it till you make it and all this other stuff. But it's like, you know, you're raising money. It's tricky, you know, just go ask that. Who did that? Who was the dude who did the Tesla truck thing that got fired from his job and everything for faking the demo of the truck rolling?
Oh, no, the Nikola.
Yeah.
I mean, what was his name? Can't think of it.
But now you look, they have a functioning product. You know, he faked it by either pulling it with a rope or rolling it down a hill. I can't remember. But now he's gone, and now there is a truck that works.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you just held back a little bit and tried to do it right, or at least disclose, hey, this is it rolling down a hill. You know, it's like everybody go like, holy shit, they got something moving. Yeah, I guess it's rolling, but seems to be working. They figure out that battery shit and get the transmission done. You know, they might have something. But don't go out just making shit up. You know, so it's like I just have a real problem with that because you know, go ask the Theranos person. You know, I mean, that's just a shit show and it's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
When you know, and I think she was just exaggerating at the beginning, and then she got pinned into the fake it till you make it shit. You know, and hiding data. So you know, that's just a mistake. Take the L, man. You'll keep your reputation that way.
Hey, you want a little more DeFi Llama news?
Yeah, please.
So yesterday, we're trying to work at Material Indicators with, we have a lot of dependency with our indicators on TradingView. And so I was actually, we keep hoping that they make some changes to way their language, it's called Pine, works. And so every few months I go in, look at their fucking announcements and see what's what. And yesterday, I saw that a couple of months ago, they announced that you could now access DeFi Llama data and into the block data in charts. So you can map DeFi Llama TVL and into the blocks on chain data into charts. So right now, this is Ethereum total value locked, Ethereum total value locked in lending, and then Ethereum price all on one chart. So in TradingView, you can start mapping DeFi Llama and into the block data. I haven't climbed into much of the into the block data. I wasn't very familiar with them, but you know, it's let me take a look and see if we can see what's currently available. But this is actually gives me a lot of capability related to our tools on DEXs. So look, you've got Bitcoin hash rate, largest holders of SHIB and Bitcoin and Ribbon. Perpetual open I don't know what this is, but I mean, there's a lot of really friggin' interesting data, available for free to you in your TradingView account. So I encourage people to check it out. API 3 whales, inflows into exchanges, ETH inflow transaction volume, ETH large transaction volume. I mean, there's just a ton of shit here that having the flexibility to map it on something you're already examining to see correlations between moves in price, et cetera, is really powerful. So I'm gonna be taking a deeper dive into this weekend because I have to for material indicators. But I wanted to make sure everybody was aware. The way you get these is when you're adding, how you normally would type like Bitcoin or BTC. Whoops, you just start typing, and then you can pick a one to add. In here, you can do it by doing DeFi Llama colon, and then it shows you all of them are available. You can also narrow it if you click on crypto and then go over here. You can narrow it to into the block or DeFi Llama or the exchanges, the normal ones you do. But anyway, this will give people a really powerful tool that are doing analysis, that are trying to trade on dexes, understand inflows, TVL, etc. So
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, very good shit. So I got this email this morning because I had a little bit in Babylon Finance previously. I wasn't affected by the hack, so this doesn't apply to me. But remember Babylon, who was harmed, had to shut down because of the Rari hack?
Yeah.
So Olympus and Frax forced the Rari folks to liquidate everything in order to pay everybody back because they were only going to get pennies on the dollar. Protocols were only going to get pennies on the dollar. Well, Babylon Finance got $3.12 million reimbursement. Still not everything that everybody lost, but they announced today that those that were holding can, click a button from this email they sent out and go get their part of the reimbursement that they're due. And then they took another $150,000 of their own money and threw it on top of that to be able to boost it a little bit. So, again, these guys over there, you just like to see people that, have the right attitude, have the right ethos, and want to make sure people are treated well, as best as they can. And through no fault of their own, they had to shut down because of a hack that happened on another protocol. Now, you may say, well, don't be so dependent on those protocols. And that's a really valid point to make, but still like to see what they're doing there.
Look, this is exactly what you're supposed to do. And you can say, I'm sure they learned that lesson already. Yep, so saying it is like, what, duh. If they would have run away if they were weak, but they're sticking around, trying to do something, or at least trying to, walk with their head held high at that point.
Exactly.
And that's the way you got to treat it. It's the exact opposite of what I was saying before.
Yeah, exactly.
So congratulations, guys. Well done.
This is a really cool little tech thing. The folks at Aztec, which is the privacy focused chain, we've talked about them briefly in the past. They're addressing the problem with how difficult it is to deal with and become a programmer that can program for cryptography. And they have released a programming language specific to rollups and handling the cryptographic capabilities that you need in order to take part in those. So this is really cool to open source and put out a Rust-based language to make it easier for people to program to ZK rollups, which obviously makes sense for them, but at the same time can be used for any of these scenarios and shields the developer from having to learn complex cryptography. Mr. Muccielli said, Frax helped me become unemployed in a good way. That's awesome, man. That's great. Got that FXS money. I love it. Love it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'd still want to take a deeper dive into Aztec. I never have, but I don't know if there's a lot going on over there. Do you? Have you heard
look, I was going through OVIX yesterday and digging through Canto the day before. It's just and then all those BTC DeFi type projects on Liquid. I mean, there's just so much out there that we're starting to find. And so, I regret to say I have not dug into that.
Aztec was its own chain. I guess they're not listed as a chain on here on DeFi Llama because I'm not seeing them. Oh, wait, I'm on Oracles. Wait a minute. Does this go all the way? Let's see. Nope, they're not listed at DeFi Llama. Anyway, let's see. What else I got, Joe? What else do I have?
I don't know, man.
Oh, cool move by Coinbase Assets. They're releasing and supporting EIP 4844, which supposedly will help scale layer 2 rollups by increasing transaction throughput and decreasing fees by 10 to 100x. So glad to see, I can belittle them, at the same time I can praise them for taking actions within the space. Obviously, a reduction in fees of large sums of money is going to be beneficial to Coinbase Assets as well as Coinbase, the exchange, but always happy to see and acknowledge people giving back to the community.
I haven't done any trading on there in years. And what I'm wondering is it doesn't have order books or anything right now, right? It's just can you set limit trades
on Coinbase?
Yeah.
I haven't traded on Coinbase in over 2 years, but I don't think you can do, I think you can do limit trades on Coinbase. Yeah. I'd be surprised if you couldn't.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking about it. I was trying to remember I've only like sold there and gone off to the bank account from Coinbase. But, I just wish it looked like Binance does. That's what I want.
I wish they had the volume and the pairs that Binance has. That's what I need. I need volume and pairs. And, as much as I like Binance US, because it looks like Binance, the volume is just not even close yet. So, and the pairs, the number of pairs, that's just because of the mean reversion stuff. I need more is better. Gitcoin is launching a protocol called Grants Protocol that'll let anybody use the protocol to set up and manage grants for a project. So cool thing. It's, obviously why there's a token, etc. Be pretty cool that they're kind of releasing this public good product to the world to let people set up their own grant system and easily manage them. I'm assuming it'll take into account kind of their system for managing stuff. But Sean says you can do limits, but not only do they screw you on the fees, also the spread. But don't they? Oh, for limits they have the fees. I bet. Only for market trades it's no fee now. Does that monthly subscription also give you limit trades for free, I wonder, or is it only on market trades? I don't know. Oh, so Bankless, the guys who constantly rant about decentralization, the ETH maxis, and this is Bankless DAO, so I need to be fair. I should separate that. Bankless DAO is a DAO that the guys at Bankless formed to do projects. And I haven't kept track of what Bankless DAO is up to, but they do projects like they have a project that helps manage Discord channels, Discord servers. And so they've set up systems that take care of spam and help you manage it and everything. So they provide good to the community, but they are partnering with Consensus, which to me is a bit ironic that
your buddy
the two guys who rant about decentralization all the time their DAO is now partnering with Consensus. Now, the partnership makes sense for Bankless because it allows them basically to they're giving employees at Consensus the ability to devote part of their time to projects at Bankless DAO, which that's a cool thing, right? It's like all these developers, technical people, biz dev people, marketing people can now go and partner up to help with projects that Bankless DAO does. So I think that's cool. I just found it ironic that the Bankless guys were partnering with Consensus, the JP Morgan Chase crypto company. Hey, Sean, I saw a tweet the other day in this private group I'm in that said that British customers, UK traders can trade in the US by setting up an LLC tax-free. Is that legit? Is that what you do, Sean? I don't know how it works, but I may have to move.
No, you'd still be a US citizen, bro, no matter where you live. So
I might have to denounce. I've been thinking about that anyway. So
good luck with that.
No, it's possible.
No, I know, but they take half your shit on the way out the door, and you're not.
Oh yeah. Well, the good news is
you don't have any shit. That's funny as shit, man. No, I know. Well, that's what the guy who was the Facebook dude, the Brazilian guy that got U.S. citizenship, and then denounced it and took the Singaporean one when he was cashing out on the Facebook stock, for
Oh
like,
no, I didn't see that.
oh yeah, so he wouldn't have to pay U.S. taxes. But that was a Brazilian guy who then got U.S. citizenship. I don't know if it's the same that way, but yeah, I mean, if you're talking billions of dollars, oh, here we go. Niblets has a tip.
Well, Sean says I do it via Irish companies, but you Yanks can do it via an offshore entity. Yeah, absolutely. That just it's pretty prohibitively expensive. And Niblet says foreigners can set up an LLC in Wyoming for $300, but the IRS still wants a piece of any U.S. generated income. All right, well, there you go. I listened to this podcast the other day, and it was interesting. It was the guys at Ribbon Finance talking about what they were doing, but the title of the podcast was "How to Revive DeFi." And I wanted to get your take, Joe. Do you think we need to revive DeFi? I mean, like, I'm not seeing any slowdown in development and building. I mean, and I'm only seeing kind of quality people remaining and the mercenaries all falling out. So I just found it interesting to title something "How to Revive DeFi." To me, I think it's just a matter of price.
Yeah, to me, it shows that they don't even understand the space at all.
Right.
And that they're trying to ride on the DeFi wave of some sort. But, these guys are probably still looking, thinking about Terra and shit like that, looking at that as reviving DeFi, when in reality, we've moved so far beyond all of that and always have. The stuff that you find and that we talk about on the show, or to a lesser extent, I find, that's kind of the cutting edge stuff. And to me, that's where the action always is. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I don't know why they say it, but it just kind of seems like saying something like, and I'm going to be exaggerative here, but it's time to what did she say? Do what with DeFi? Return to DeFi? Revive.
No, it was DeFi. Revive DeFi.
Let's revive.com. Let's go back to pre-Google, pre-Facebook, pre-everybody, man.
Everybody. Let's start from scratch.
Hey, what happened, man? Who put these devices in our hand that are supercomputers? It's like, saying something like that, I don't want to be mean or pick on it.
Be mean. Come on.
But it sounds kind of not that intelligible to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But maybe they meant a different word. There's always language issues in translation. Maybe revive. Maybe she's trying to say it's time for us to reemphasize, or time for us to leave the bad parts of DeFi behind and keep going balls out on the new cool stuff. I don't know what she's meaning there, but words mean different things to different people. So
in court documents, Eamon was looking at this yesterday because he tweeted about it, which was pretty funny. But Celsius published a 14,500 page document listing every user of Celsius and all of their transaction history. So first and last names.
Wallet addresses?
No, I don't think there's wallet addresses because it was centralized on Celsius, but it's like
countries of origin.
I am sure. And it's like, could somebody have talked to the judge before they published that shit? Like, I mean, imagine the people that have substantial money who are now targets, right?
They basically released, PII, it seems like to me.
What do you mean PII?
Personal identifying information.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you're not supposed to do.
Right.
So, and it's financial.
It's
so
insane.
To me, I don't know how do they blunder and do this? I don't really get that.
Well, I'm sure they're required to submit that kind of information to the bankruptcy court, but I got to believe that's not standard practice to make that publicly available information.
I think it's usually sealed.
Yeah, you would think, right?
To protect the PII.
It's fucking insane.
Because now, if someone's parking 10 million in Celsius and you got their name, they're probably holding another 90 million in crypto.
Yeah, exactly.
So, they're a target now.
Exactly.
I don't know. That looks like a huge, colossal F up to me.
Yeah. The address, they went to the trouble of redacting the addresses.
All right.
But it has names, transaction types, and amounts, which services the customer used, types and quantity of token held, and more.
Yeah, so you just can search. I don't need to tell anybody how to do it. It's pretty easy to figure out who they are.
Exactly. It's
'Cause
insane.
they're probably on social, they're probably touting coins, they're probably, saying something. And once you combine all that together,
Yeah.
so I think the interesting thing is going to be, I wonder if it presents problems for, say, like, in home countries for all the people that were putting money there.
Right.
Think Americans in particular, or, other countries where maybe it's more strictly banned or managed. I mean, what about the Chinese, putting crypto into Celsius? I mean, they're all in huge trouble
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be doing anything with crypto. So I think they're seriously exposed to massive lawsuits at this point at the personal level. So I look at that as a colossal
Lawsuits,
mistake.
attacks, theft, kidnapping. I mean, there's just, it's just levels of stupid.
Yeah.
To me. And again, maybe this is normal. Maybe this happens in every bankruptcy case, but I would think in this case, with the nature of the information, that the judge would have said, you know what, let's not post that, or let's redact the names.
Well, think about if a healthcare company went under and, they had to take care of reimbursing people for, premiums, say pro rata or something like that. And the bankruptcy court wanted the names of everyone so they could make sure that they were treated fairly by the class that was suing. They wouldn't publish that information.
Hell no. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a blunder.
Yeah,
Machines be effed up, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the last thing I got, Joe. We're going to have a short show today. Offline Bitcoin Lightning payments will soon be possible. I have no idea how the fuck this works. But Eclair, the company's Eclair, is actively testing support for asynchronous payments. The new feature will enable sending funds over Bitcoin's most popular layer 2, even if a node is offline, such as a Lightning node on a disconnected phone. Oh, okay. So they're figuring out a way to cope with the fact that a node may be offline, and when it rejoins, I guess the transaction can be brought back. Reduce reliance on third parties to hold funds until the node returns online. A so-called trampoline relay that can temporarily hold funds until a node restores its internet connection. These nodes might include tablets, devices that automatically sleep, or any Lightning node with an unreliable internet connection. So the developers merged that proposal as an option. Anyway, as an optional update for Lightning users, the developer-oriented Bitcoin Optech newsletter describes it as a basic technology for asynchronous payments that enables trampoline relays. This basic implementation will allow experimentation. That's brilliant. That's great, because that would obviously be conceivably a big hole in the way Lightning functions, right? Is when a node's down, because of the way the nodes function and the way the money travels and what money has to be in a given node in order for another node to take an action. This makes a ton of sense. I don't know how the funding of these trampoline payments would work, nodes would work, but it's interesting. And here we go again. Oh, wait. Well, he said the method was gone through in the What Bitcoin Did podcast a while ago, offline transactions. Oh, cool. I'll check it out. I love Peter's show. And yeah, if you guys ever want to learn anything about more specifically on Bitcoin tech and how it functions and what it's doing, Peter McCormick's What Bitcoin Did does a fantastic job. And there's always good kinds of information in there. He doesn't stick to just Bitcoin. It doesn't feel like the normal Bitcoin maxi echo chamber with everybody complaining about evil Ethereum people. So highly recommend that one. So,
yeah, I mean, look, anywhere you can get information, differing perspectives, you just absorb it. You don't have to personalize it.
Yeah.
If people are saying stuff you don't want to hear, still listen and understand their arguments. And then, doesn't mean you got to say, oh, you're full of shit, or it doesn't mean you got to say, oh yeah, you're right. Don't say anything, man. Just listen, and then co-opt your position to maybe account for their reaction to what you're going to say next.
Yep.
But you don't get that if you're set in an information bubble. And one thing I've learned in my now month-long Twitter experiment, which, by the way, I've went from 4 to 44 followers.
Ooh, all right.
Joe
will be offering his Twitter growth consulting services in the coming weeks.
Yeah. And then you look at other people and they go like, how does someone get 120,000? How does someone get 40 million? I don't know. But why? But the point is that it's everybody talking about the same thing in these clusters. So, I mean, I can see it. You know, I see why you talk about, you know, all the doom and crypto Twitter about macro and the economy. It's like everybody's bitching still, and everybody's, you know, still got that 2020 election thing perspective going too. You know, when you just look at like who's talking about the Russians in a favorable light versus, you know, who's talking about decentralization or nothing. You know, you get into these little echo chambers. And I think I'm confusing the algorithm by all the different stuff I'm sending out, because I noticed that certain ones get wide distribution, and then, you know, maybe an article from a science magazine on, you know, quantum theory or whatever gets like 12 people, but, you know, impressions, but then it'll have utilization of like 9. Right. So the people that want to see it are still seeing it. And I find that kind of interesting. But anything that relates to crypto, or, you know, going into a group where there's a bunch of followers and you post anything, you know, you bag like thousands of impressions when it's not really anything of substance.
Exactly.
So I figured you have to really kind of really work hard to bring in other thought streams from other sources. So, you know, by reading things. So always, you know, don't hesitate to watch all these podcasts that Brad mostly talks about, or different information sources that I talk about. Use it to create a composite impression, because, you know, at the end of the day, it really is just your perspective on everything.
That's right.
And so you have to like make the universe fit your perspective at that point.
That's right.
And you know, it's a battle, it never ends. But if you're just hearing, like, if I'm just listening to say Brad all day, and I'm not picking on Brad, but I did change my profile a little bit, so I want to see what you thought about that tagline. Does that make sense?
I like it.
I just sort of realized how many
man of the people.
That's right, baby. And
Uncle
that is
Joe, man of the people.
You know, I'll tell you where I got that. There was a lawyer that I worked with in China. He was he actually fled China during the Long March. I presume he's still around, but he might not be. And he was chairman of the board or the executive committee for Couder Brothers, which anybody knows about international law firms. Couder was in the middle of everything big, Coudert, and then it got disbanded for, you know, some stuff. But they're connected to governments everywhere and super rich everywhere. But then he went to Greenberg Traurig, and he was on their executive committee. But he would be the one in China who was always just screaming like an American, and everybody would look at him thinking he was Chinese, and then he would be like the big pushy, and be screaming, "Where's my taxi? I don't want to go to the airport. I want to go, you know, to Lujiazhi or something." And then no taxi guys would take him. But they would take me. I'd be like, "Come on, George, shut the hell up." And I'd be like, "Hey, man." And they'd be like, "All right, jump in," thinking you're going to the airport. And then it's like just across town. But he would always walk around saying that when his family fled China in I guess a Rolls Royce it was. And he went to school, I think, in Thailand, and then, you know, prep school in Hong Kong. And, you know, I could just imagine that retreat with all your valuables in a Rolls Royce through the countryside in a civil war, driving down to Thailand. But he would always say that he learned that you want to be a man of the people, because eventually the revolution comes. And when it comes, man, you want to be on the right side of that.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the end of a pitchfork.
Yeah. So look, that's kind of a joke, of course, but I mean, everything I said is true, but, you know, that's not why. It's just I really believe in individual rights and free will, that you should be able to be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do, as long as it doesn't infringe on others' rights, and as long as it's not, you know, something that's, you know, not a long-term positive. But I think that we don't have to do what our parents did. We don't have to do what people expect us to do. We can do anything we want.
Yeah.
And I believe in that 100%. You only put blinders on as you grow up and start realizing what you can't do.
Yeah.
But if you keep those blinders off and you keep going and innovating and trying, you will make it eventually, or you'll be dead, one or the other. So what other way to live, man? I don't see how you do it. I just believe in it.
I agree, dude.
100%. So
absolutely.
Anybody?
Are we sticking with the peacock branding?
Well, that's kind of not consistent with it. I realized. I didn't realize that that's kind of like that's Percy, the peacock in my yard. But
yeah,
I didn't realize it's also something that associates with like royalty and shit like that.
Well,
So
not just that. Anybody that listens to you in South Florida like me hates peacocks. So, it's a
oh yeah, I don't mind.
negative
I don't.
brand association.
Yeah, no, that was just more of like a way not to ID myself, but of course, I put my LinkedIn profile there too, and so what does it really matter? I might pull my picture from LinkedIn over and just keep that one in Telegram.
Yeah.
Because I think people do want to see a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to do something like that. But it's just,
it's good.
I mean, that's what we're trying to do. So, we want to bring the.
If you aren't following Joe, get over there and do it now. Shame on you. Pathfinder 305.
Dude, I got the hottest bots following, man. I mean, you should see some of these gals. I mean, they're smoking.
Hot young women all are DMing you.
Oh yeah, you know it, man. They're all in there. The ones that have like 0 tweets and follow 40,000 people and have like 3 followers or something.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a fake account, but I just find it funny how the bots I guess must be running these follow programs for these sort of shadow accounts.
Yeah.
I was kind of joking. I'm like, I guess Musk was onto something there. But I get it. It creates the network, and who cares? I don't interact with them. But the idea is that Brad and I have done a lot, and and we are trying to, we're slightly, tiny bit different in the crypto sphere, but I mean, we have the same lessons from tech, and probably, I mean, I don't know. I've got some time in there. I think Brad's probably got, he's older than me, so he's got more experience probably, but combined, you get 2 different perspectives. So you can synthesize us and our opinion streams and then synthesize it with everything else you're looking at. And that's all we want to do, to empower you with the ability to hopefully make some good choices.
28 years in tech. Just did the math again. Mine.
Yeah, 28, man. So what, you started when you were 40, right?
Yeah. Such an asshole.
You guys can see I do talk a lot of smack.
Yes, you do.
In my younger days, if it was more appropriate in the workplace, God, I talk trash. But now you don't do that.
Down in the boiler room.
Yeah, now or the back room with the bar.
Oh, remind me next week to tell you the story about my mother-in-law's boyfriend. Save that one. Old school pump and dump. Penny stock, boiler room, mafia guy.
Oh, right. I like that. That sounds entertaining.
Yeah. And it's sad. He wrote a book. This guy, I'll tell the story next week, but he wrote a book with all these amazing stories. Awesome writer. He wrote a book with all these amazing stories in it. And the only 2 people that have copies of it are his son and my mother-in-law. And he didn't want it published, but it would be like a TV series. I mean, it's like brilliant. It's fucking hilarious. Terrifying all at the same time, but stories of him as pump and dump, stories of him doing cons, stories of him robbing large Jewish jewelry distributors.
Oh my God.
Like crazy ass stories, crazy stories, man. Well, I want to publish that book.
Well, you have to always remember that a lot of, across a variety of ethnicities, groupings, localities, whatever, during Prohibition, there were a lot of fortunes made.
Hell yeah.
And, a lot of very prominent people in this country were involved in that. And to be involved in that, you were a gangster. I mean, there were guns and stuff, and you were doing things. It was, go watch the old gangster movies from Hollywood. That's what that was about. And, now they're all legit, or the money's legit, or whatever. Those people have all pretty much passed away. But, it's a fascinating time.
Yeah.
When you look at it. And, those different groups all had their organizing groups, their syndicates, let's say. They kept the new populations organized, I guess. And they interacted with each other, and they made money together. Well, that's where Vegas came from. That's where a lot of downtown Miami real estate came from. It was those proceeds. So it's funny. And then nowadays, we don't, that is, those types of businesses are just so much more organized and more violent. Yep. And they're not, say, it's not as romantic as we like to look at the past, but it was still a grind.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I always love those stories, but they're always kind of the stories better left unpublished.
But see, he passed away. The guys, most of the people he references in the book are passed away. He wasn't full-blown mafia. He was auxiliary, basically. But the stories are so friggin' entertaining. And he writes with such a hilarious edge. He did 2 Hollywood films. He did, just some great fucking stories. Just really good shit that needs to be published, because it would be entertaining for folks. It's kind of an era, anyway.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law, just to be clear, my mother-in-law didn't know what he was all about until after he sent her the book when he was about to die. Right. When they were dating, it was when she was early 20s, and then later in life they connected again. But she was a little shocked when
I can imagine.
Anyway.
Well, look, 2 good movies, obviously, on that vein. Goodfellas, which is a classic, which kind of shows how you grow up into those organized groups. And there was another one I was just thinking of. Oh, it's a series on, I think it's HBO. The one that's like the Fontainebleau over there on Miami Beach, and it's like late 50s, early 60s. They did a couple of seasons. I can't remember.
I don't know
what it's called, but that's a good one, because it sort of talks about how, different gangsters and stuff, how they retired. Like, the Biltmore in Coral Gables.
Yeah.
Al Capone rented out that top floor penthouse in the tower and lived there for like 2 years when he was wanted by the FBI and the IRS and everybody.
Amazing.
And he just lived there, and nobody came to get him. Everybody knew he was there.
That's hilarious.
Florida had this. It was kind of a retirement home for, like a lot of people, for them too.
Yeah.
But just fascinating stories. And, you run into, like, when I was doing a lot at the beach at Flamingo Tennis Center, the people that live there in those, like, say, those towers, like Continuum and Portofino and all of those, Murano, all that stuff south of 5th, I guess, on the beach. They come in, and it's like, these old dudes, they were all part of that, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to hear them, trading war stories and stuff like that when they're hanging out, afterwards. But yeah, no, Miami's a fabulous place, very diverse, from a lot of American history, of course, but a lot of, South American history and, Southern U.S. history too. So it's a really cool, diverse place to be.
The crackers. All right, dude, I got to roll. I got a 1 o'clock.
I was just trying to get us closer to 1, so I'm good.
Thanks. I've also got a 16-year-old dog that needs to pee. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. We love you and appreciate you. Thank you, Niblets, Sean, Mr. Muccioli. Welcome to the conversation.
Thanks, buddy.
And the community. Join us on Reddit, reddit.com/Mission DeFi. That's where the discussions are happening about everything we talk about and everything you want to talk about. Please like and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're not subscribed yet on YouTube, be sure and do that. And if you have, make sure you click the little bell so you get announcements when our newest episodes of this show and Mission DeFi come out. You can see all past episodes of DeFi Lunch at missiondefi.com. Joe, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. And sorry to disappoint the core regulars without brawling with Brad today.
Yeah,
but
it's trying, guys. I'm trying.
It's very hard for me to be mean to him.
Yeah, I'm going to start making some Irish jokes, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm only a quarter Irish, but it's the black Irish streak, so that's where it comes from. That's what I've been beaten down my whole life. But when I was younger, look, Sean, you know what that is. When I was younger, it was, I would be the one who could come into meetings and just rip people's heads off if they weren't performing. Never in a vindictive way if you were a performer, but if you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing, I was harsh. But I just don't do that anymore. One, I don't manage people, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
Two, it's just not, I try to hang out with people I like.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard for me to get amped up with Brad unless I'm triggered by something else going on. So that's why I kind of stay in my little containment pod here with him. But anyhow, maybe next week, guys.
Say bye, Joe.